Alright, this is the Unit 25 Part 2 video over the immune system. Make sure that you're writing all of these notes down in your journal and paying close attention as we discuss the important system that protects our bodies from invaders. So we have two different types of immunity, and the first type is going to be called innate immunity. So non-specific response is a part of what we call innate immunity. And innate immunity, the word innate means you are born with it. So all of us have innate immunity. We are all born with some ability for our bodies to protect itself against invaders. So let's talk about those now. Our non-specific part of our immunity, or innate immunity, makes it what we call the first line of defense. So when we think of the immune system, we kind of think of an army or a military, right? So our first line of defense, they're on the front lines. They are the ones that are going to protect the body before anything ever is able to get a chance to get inside and make us sick. The first part of our first line of defense is going to be our skin. On our skin, we have oil and sweat, which are going to create an unfavorable environment for the pathogens. So you can see here are some yucky pathogens, and the secretions on the skin, they're not very happy with, so they can't actually make it into the body. So our skin is very important in protecting us from invaders. Another part of non-specific immunity or innate immunity, which makes up our first line of defense, is mucus. So when we get that annoying mucus, especially right now, this time of year with all of these allergies, right? That mucus that builds up actually serves a purpose, because the particles that are trying to get into the body are actually going to be trapped in the mucus, and they're going to be moved up and out of the body by what we call cilia, which are these little finger-like projections inside of our esophagus or throat that help to move up the mucus so that we can cough or sneeze and get rid of it, right? So we sneeze or cough out the mucus, which gets rid of the pathogens, or sometimes we even swallow mucus and then they end up dying anyways because they can't survive in the acidic environment of our stomach. The last type of first line of defense are tears. So our tears actually contain an enzyme called lysozyme, and this enzyme is able to break down and kill pathogens before they make it into our body. So that's very important as well. So for our first line of defense, just a quick recap, we have our skin, mucus, and tears. All three of those make up our first line of defense. Our second line of defense is going to be what happens if something actually invades our body. And so this is going to first of all be our white blood cells. So our white blood cells are going to be what initiate an immune response if something actually gets into the body, makes it past our first line of defense. So for instance, if you get bitten by a fire ant, the skin is broken, which allows that toxin into our bloodstream. The skin around it becomes red, itchy, and hot. And what's happening is that these white blood cells, they signal, oh, hey, there's something here that's not supposed to be here. So what's going to happen is those white blood cells actually travel to the area, and they start releasing a chemical signal, which is going to cause more white blood cells to be made and to travel to the area to help fight off the pathogen. So basically, the white blood cells sense the problem, and they start to call for backup. White blood cells actually do their job by engulfing pathogens through the process of endocytosis. Again, there's a type of active transport that we learned at the beginning of the year that is coming back again. So endocytosis, remember it's bringing stuff into the cell, engulfing it into the cell using vesicles. Sometimes when we have a immune response that involves white blood cells, we can actually develop a fever. And this is because a fever causes our white blood cells to mature at a faster rate. Okay, and it also makes it the environment unfavorable for the invader. So a lot of times, if we are sick, the first thing that we know, the first symptoms is that we have a fever, because our body is going to crank up that temperature, A, to help increase the white blood cells to fight off the sickness, and B, to try and make the environment a little a little more unfavorable, so that that pathogen might surrender and give up. All right, so that is non-specific immunity. Now we're moving into specific immunity, which is a part of acquired immunity. And this is a type of immunity that you're going to get throughout your life as you encounter different pathogens, and your body fights it off. So this is going to involve the third line of defense. And our third line of defense is going to depend on cellular immunity, which depends on T cells. We'll actually have two different types of T cells, which we will talk about. So as white blood cells engulf the pathogen, they're actually going to display part of the pathogen's protein markers on the surface for the T cells to recognize. And the T cells, they're actually going to memorize this pathogen through antibodies. So that what's going to happen is, as these T lymphocytes bind to white blood cells, we're going to start creating more T cells that can target this specific type of pathogen. We have two types of T cells: helper T cells and killer T cells. Helper T cells are important because helper T cells are they're like the general of the army. Okay, they're the ones in charge. These are the ones that stimulate the killer T cells to come and kill the pathogen, and they're also going to produce memory or antibodies. Okay, and remember that HIV is what targets helper T cells. So when HIV takes out helper T cells, it's taking out the general of the army. So that leaves the rest of the army having no idea how to function or what to do because the leader is gone. The other type of T cell is called a killer T cell. And this is the type of T cell that's actually going to find the infected cell and release enzymes to kill it. Again, this is also going to produce memory cells. These memory cells are important because this is what keeps our body able to remember the pathogen, so that if it ever encounters that same pathogen again, it's not going to make us as sick or sick at all. This is why once you have certain illnesses, you usually don't get them again, or if you do, you don't have them as severe as you did the first time. So antibody immunity is going to rely on these B cells, and these are our memory cells, or the cells that are going to be stimulated by our T cells. So the helper T cells and the killer T cells are going to promote the creation of these B cells so that we can remember these pathogens for the future. It's always better, if you're going to be attacking something, that you have some kind of inside intelligence about it, so it'll be prepared for the fight for the next time. The B cell's job is to remember the antigen and to produce antibodies, so that if it recognizes the antigen again, it can automatically produce the antibodies. So an antigen is going to be the bacteria, virus, or other foreign cells in the body. The antibody is the protein carried in the bloodstream that binds to the antigen and basically tags it. Antibodies are going to be Y-shaped, and they'll bind to an antigen like the lock and key model. They are specific to each invader, so that each time a new disease is contracted, new antibodies are made. So you have antibodies for every disease that you've contracted and been able to fight off. So antibodies, they tag for destruction. So they don't actually destroy anything, but they kind of put a red flag on the cell, and then the killer T cells can come by and quickly destroy it because it's already been marked for destruction by the antibodies. Again, the HIV virus attacks our helper T cells so that we are unable to the body is unable to defend itself. Vaccines are important. Vaccines are what are going to artificially produce acquired immunity. So even if we haven't encountered these diseases or pathogens on our own, the vaccine is going to give us a weakened version of the antigen, and that's going to allow our immune system to have enough of a reaction to produce memory cells and lymphocytes. And we're going to store these in our body so if we actually do ever encounter the antigen in real life, we're already going to be equipped and ready to fight it. So it won't be deadly, or it won't make us as sick as it would have if we didn't have already had the vaccination. So vaccines are very, very important. They help to protect us against future diseases, and they also help to prevent us from making other people sick. So if we vaccinate ourselves, we're ensuring that we're not going to pass the disease on to someone else who may not be able to get vaccines because of their health. All right, looks like that's the end of our video over the immune system. So make sure you have everything written down, and that if you need to go back and rewatch any parts, make sure you do so.